And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 42nd episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm Matty Allen. This is ChrispyMan of HexFire.io. Welcome.
Hello, Matty.
So we got a great show for you tonight. I am going to yell at Apple for making terrible headphones, and then we can talk about Hex.
Woohoo.
Hex is on a discount right now.
I see that. Oh yeah, below 2 cents, huh?
So that's exciting for some people.
It's exciting, all right.
Man, I gotta tell you, my mood is totally bummed out because I was supposed to be better from my car accident, and I'm not. So it really sucks.
Oh, those bones haven't mended, or are you taking longer?
I like moved myself on the couch after I patiently waited 6 weeks not lifting more than a pound with either arm, a feat that I had no idea I could do. I didn't know I could be this patient, and then, but I guess my hex training and everything, it like served me well. But I was still surprised and proud of myself. And then the doctor said I was good to go, and so I moved my weight on the couch and re broke the left side. So
Oh,
yeah, back
well,
to week one on that side.
That's a cup half full situation, right?
That's right. Yeah,
50% there.
that's right. Hey, I'm lucky to have arms and be alive. So there we go. But yeah, other than that, how was your Christmas?
It's good. Unfortunately, lots of food. I like food. So already working on New Year's. Not eating, that is. And kind of work towards a healthier 2023. For us, there's a lot of family, a lot of gifts, that type of stuff. We've got a big family. Then how was yours?
It was good. Yeah, definitely got to spend time with family, and so that was special.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. I did get an interesting gift. I never heard of it before, but I got an eye massager. How about that? I didn't even know they made them.
You got to explain that one.
So it's a massager that you wear on your eyeballs, and with your eyelids closed, and it just puts gentle pressure on your eyes. Yeah, I haven't even got a chance to try it yet, but it's called Eyeology. We'll see how that works out.
Cool.
Eyeology.
Interesting. Yeah, and of course we got the chart of market emotions. Here we can throw up on the screen. Cycle of market emojis in this case. And people have been speculating that the crypto market, it may be in between the stages of anger and depression. I see somebody here in the chat is helping us get to that point, saying, below 2 cents, honestly, this is a disaster. Tired of this, and I've grown tired of Richard's antics. And well, people I onboarded got completely wrecked. So I guess that person did not onboard people who would be long-term thinkers and maybe didn't understand the product.
Yeah, yeah. I when you look at that graph, we've talked about this before, market cycle emotions and a number of other things that affect human beings, right?
Yeah.
There isn't, even though we have that kind of like map, right, of this is what you go through. Your journey isn't on that path, or it doesn't have to be. What does that mean? So, like Briz is saying, "Hey, man, I'm feeling like it's more like anger right now." It's likely both, right? I guess it's probably unlikely anybody's uncharacteristically happy at the moment. But when you're going through emotions, whether it's through grief, uh, something like the bear cycle or change, you're likely to visit those stations multiple times. Those different steps multiple times. And I think you've said that before too. And Maddie may come back, I hope. But yeah, Bruce, it is it does feel that way. Hey, I'm not immune to it either. I mean, I think all of us are very human, right? Can't be anything other than that. And to some extent, your emotions are going to be affected by what's happening in the market. And it is hard, and it's something that I've had to train myself over 6 or 7 years to be able to get through. Because and maybe you guys have seen something really similar. I don't know. Um, but it's one thing when you come into crypto. This has nothing to do with really Hex, except that Hex is part of crypto. You come into crypto and people say, "Hey, it's high risk." Yeah, I know it's high risk, right? But what does that really mean? Did you understand what it meant? And then you go, "Well, don't put more in than you can lose." Absolutely, I'll never put in more than I could lose. And then and then you have to have a long time frame, but damn it, a year into it or 2 years into it, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So what happened to a long time frame? Um, but all those things that we tell ourselves know about this and think we know anyways, we start questioning them along the way. And that anyways, that's part of the journey. It does get better over time, easier over time, but I don't think it ever goes away. You know, the emotions are there. Yeah, T-Bird's right about being objective. Hey, it's easy to say that, T-Bird, right? It's easy to say that. I don't disagree with you, but I think that's what you have to practice, right?
Well, at least the person who brought up the discontent is thanking us for being consistent streaming. I almost didn't do it tonight because um, I got the bad medical news, and then none of my equipment has been working. Space heater stopped working completely. Camera wasn't working. Headphones not working.
Yeah.
It's really not my night, but being on here is already starting to cheer me up. So thanks.
We'll cheer you up,
Thanks.
but we do hear a lot of weirdness though in your microphone. So
Right now.
yeah, it's a little garbled.
All right, let me work on it.
All right. All right, Briz. He knows. We'll work on it. Well, yeah, I would say this: never say never about anything in crypto. That's for sure, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds with it. But we, have some past evidence from a couple different cycles of what happens within crypto, and and more broadly, what happens in markets. And I've been around a little bit for several different market kind of activities or things that happened. So all the way going back to 1988, and watching some of those things happen. So things cycle, and they move around. Let me see if I go to the live chat. There's sometimes the comments that come across off of the YouTube aren't very quick. A little bit delayed, right? Pop this out. Woohoo! All right. All right. See Matt and Bali. Thank you. Yeah, Bruce, I've gotten to the point now I don't even I am avoiding some, I don't know if this is good or not, maybe for my own sanity. But I have been avoiding some of the Twitter streams and Twitter threads that are out there just because they are completely negative at times, you know. Uh, just kind of working on that myself and trying to stay away from toxicity because here's the thing, with the emotions, everything goes on. You have to do your own research and understand what's happening within crypto, within the different projects you might be interested in. But by and large, a lot of this is just chatter, just talk, you know. And I remember a whole lot of things being said by a whole lot of people, against Hex over several years, you know. And I think what T-Bird was saying is true. People sell bottoms, right? That's how it works, and they buy tops, and I'm people, so I do that too. I try not to do that, but that's that's kind of what happens, you know. But it takes time and practice to kind of work through it. Yeah, Luke Duke, I have to agree with you there. Longer term uh, time frame, that 4 to 7 years, kind of time frame is kind of the sweet spot. I say 4 to 7 because depending when you enter into crypto, right, that 4 year cycle seems to have held up and been somewhat real. And now we see, in the BTC area, people talking all sorts of stuff about how this is going to be a 10-year trend or 5 year trend down, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, you start to hear all these worst case things that could possibly happen in all the FUD that was here. You know, I remember. I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but I remember there being a really bad patch of FUD that came out in the Hex ecosystem at one point. It read like a Clancy novel, you know. Uh, Russian hacker spies and betrayals and all sorts of stuff. And man, people see that stuff and they push the button. They're like, ah, they get all afraid. How'd you make out, Maddie? Better?
How do I sound?
Oh, good. Your lips aren't moving.
Test. Is my video messed up now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, but your lips don't move. It's a little delayed. Uh-oh.
How about
It could
now?
be on my perfect for me.
Okay.
That delay could be on my side,
Thank you to Matt in Bali. Thank you for the super sticker. You rock. What'd I miss?
Oh, nothing. We were just kind of like, I was trying to be somewhat entertaining. All right.
Streaming is a pain. Every little thing can and will mess up. That's correct.
It sure can.
Keeping my ears warm. That's right. How toxic Twitter was today. Was Twitter toxic today? Should we investigate? What was it? What was it, Bristology? What was toxic on Twitter today? I posted something on Twitter today.
Did you?
I said, the HEX conference will never be like the Bitcoin conference because the Bitcoin conference gave me these sunglasses that say FTX on them.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. To be fair, I was using the sunglasses today, but I just thought it was funny.
FTX swag, huh?
Look, it's got the Bitcoin conference logo next to it. They sold out. I wonder if they have to give the funds back. There's a year-long clawback, like backwards. So probably.
You would think. I'll tell you, I haven't kept up with FTX at all and what's been going on with Sam or Caroline. But boy, does it sound like this is going to be one interesting, set of trials and whatnot. I don't know how they're going to spin it, but you can, having watched and consumed enough media in the past, you can kind of figure what people are going to be thinking they're going to do, right? Pass the blame in one way or another. Try to make it try to make it not your fault.
So who's being toxic? Trevon and somebody else?
From my point of view, what I saw, it was just some, and the guys in the chat probably know a lot more about what's going on, but some FUD-ish attacks on the OA, on Richard, on Hex, revolving around the normal, which is it's ironic, right, in a way, but revolving around the normal trope, of attacks. But then right in the middle, like one of these, like part 1 through 12 deals, and then right in the middle. And by the way, you should buy our token, our coin, blah blah blah. So it is like, well, listen, the arguments you just made, if I really wanted to be somewhat objective, if I use those arguments against any crypto, it's all the same question, right? I mean, how is it? It's so I don't know. I'm probably lost, Maddie, and maybe I don't understand how things really work. But when I look at the concerns that we have over the OA and whatnot, that people have, I get it. I understand why. But then I go to another token and people own 50, 60, 80% and corner the market all the time. And so then I'm like, well, what's different here? And what's different is, for me anyways, is transparency. What I can see has happened in the past, action wise, that type of stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, they stirred up a whole bunch of hornet's nest today, and I had mentioned I even kind of tuned out.
Well, maybe the OA will use something like time pays me and then give a more certainty in the economic policy. For me, I think the OA has every incentive to not sell, but it'd be cool if that was provable on the blockchain.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, and I really, the more that I've actually talked to people, the more I realize that having time locking, whatever it is, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Hex, I mean, whatever it is, the interesting thing about, the interesting game theory about the OA being able to use the product I'm developing would be that it wouldn't change the the inflation schedule. of HEX. It wouldn't, it wouldn't change the daily payouts. So that'd be kind of interesting. What are your thoughts there?
I agree, but that's the amount that it actually would affect the daily payouts would be not very much, right?
Well,
Meaning
if the OA staked natively, then that would affect the daily payouts, and it would create less inflation being paid to the the retail users who are time locking. I think under certain circumstances.
Yeah, I think what we saw yesterday, I was doing some numbers and looking at some information. If I'm not mistaken, 17% of the inflation, not minted, inflation goes to suspected OA accounts, OA daughter accounts. So something about 17%. So really close to Pareto kind of numbers, 80-20. So 20, so roughly just say 20% maybe goes to OA stakes. But
Yeah.
what have we seen? And that's today, that's now, right? But what have we seen happen with OA stakes? Well, they don't, since big payday, after the big payday change, they haven't made any moves, right? Those stakes haven't made any moves. I haven't seen any that have ended by the address. I haven't seen the address interact. I've started doing some of my own analysis because I hadn't done this before, actually gone through and programmatically across all the addresses. So I started with the OA address and started digging in 2 or 3 levels to determine what I could see, and all I see is that the OA address, the C03 address, C03 address, has sent to other addresses and has staked. So from the official OA address, that's all I've seen. And I don't know if somebody else has something else. I know I was looking at somebody else's documents that were out there, so I need to dig in a little bit further. Because I do hear that FUD, right? And I'm in the system too, so I'm concerned, right? I want to know. I guess I'm a concerned troll in that way. That I'd be interested in knowing too, right?
Well, what's being said?
Well, things like, that it is being sold on the market or that nefarious things are happening. But I've never seen any evidence of that, right? So, I mean, one way for me to dispel that is go look for myself.
Yeah. 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 I find it really funny that people would say that the OA would sell. I mean, there's plenty of other people who can sell. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
and they do. And they
Yeah.
do. Yeah. But you've heard people say that before, right?
Yeah. I mean, have I? Maybe I just dismissed it and filtered it right when I heard it. I mean, yeah. I haven't ever heard of anybody saying that they had any evidence of that.
No, I haven't seen any evidence either. I've seen
It's
what appear to be doctored pictures once in a while, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. The fake pictures of Richard's IDs.
Yeah, well, even
really
other stuff. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
like transactions and accounts and whatnot, but or Ethereum addresses. But that's what's great about blockchain is I can go look, so I will. I'll go look. Might take me a couple of months, but to get through it all, but I will go look and see what I find out.
Yeah. There you have it.
I like the hat, by the way.
Thanks.
We've got one very
Keeps
similar
me
to that.
warm.
Oh yeah, nothing better in the winter.
Are you in the cold area?
Yeah, it's not too bad where I am. It's only about 25 degrees, so it's not bad. I mean, yeah,
That's not
negative, no, -20, -30. I don't like that, but I like 25. 25 is not bad. You know. So I'll tell you, I'll give you an idea of the little project I've been working on. One of them on the side. I don't know yet how interested others might be in this, but I did a poll going back a month and a half ago, 2 months ago on Twitter with the Twitter circle that I have of people, which are just people mostly that have commented and asked very intelligent questions about things that I've done with Hexfire, about what types of measures, what types of metrics are important to them in Hex and in crypto in general. And I compiled a list. It's not formalized yet. I put this together, and then also went out and pulled quarterly and monthly reports on crypto from a couple different locations. I mean, there's a real good Hex report site where you can get information like that, where it's very similar to the type of information that I put out or I've put together. I grabbed Kathy Wood's Bitcoin report from from ARK Invest. I think you're familiar with her.
Yeah.
I pulled that. I pulled a couple other ones just to kind of view and see what kind of metrics people look at when they're in crypto. I'm trying to be thorough with it, right? I mean, some of these are pretty obvious types. And so I started looking at, what would be kind of like a thumbnail type of I guess thumbnail is not the right way to put it. What would be, kind of like a quick report format for people who maybe are a little more business minded, that maybe don't have the ability or want to go crawl through information just to see, hey, this is the status, this is what's going on right now, and then they could dig in deeper from that. And so what do you think the number one request I had was? What do you think the number one thing people wanted to know about Hex?
Now, if the OA is selling?
Nah. I mean, they don't. That was on the list, but that
what
was
the total supply is?
No. I won't play a game with you. So I'll just come out and tell you. People want to know. They said, "What's the most important thing to know? How many days of flawless operation has Hex completed?" And that is 1,122 days, or should be 1,122 days today. At the end of
wow. And I mean, I heard in a debate once people say that that's not a big deal because it's basically it's just an Ethereum contract. What do you say to those people?
Well, I don't agree that that's the case. I get the point that somebody would say that, and why they would say it. Oh, you're just taking credit for Ethereum. Yeah, because the design was built on Ethereum for that purpose, right? To take advantage of the fact that it does run flawlessly. But running flawlessly doesn't infer that it's just blockchain operation. As we have seen, contracts can be mal-designed. There can be errors or problems with contracts that will prevent them from operating, and maybe not operate as intended. And so the further we get into, the use of a single contract that's been locked with no keys, the more, credibility I think it has that it will continue to operate the same way.
Yeah, I think with all the game theory behind Hex and how people are using it, I think it is pretty incredible that it's still having flawless operation. But that's fascinating that that's the number one thing that smart people were wanting to know about.
Well, they must be really smart people. They're following me, right?
Yep.
It's not. It's probably a little bit more pinpoint than it's probably not broad enough of a to get a really good feel for what everybody in the world would want. But for people who are interested in the types of things I'm interested in, and so coming right on the heels of that what else did they want to know? They wanted to know when and what was the all-time low, and how many days has it been,
Mm.
since then. And so this is me using Hex daily stats information, because it uses that Uniswap information from the early days. But the all-time low, at least according to Uniswap, was January 5th, 2020. Did it sound about familiar?
Yes.
And
Day 34.
Yep, and that was 1,087 days ago. Almost 3 years hit the all-time low, and 4 zeros and a 6 is roughly what they have for closing price. May have gone a little bit lower.
It went to 4 zeros and a 5 intraday.
But quite often, we do measurements. I know, depending on who's doing what, they'll use closing price, right? In fact, I started working a little bit with Axis on building, maybe some custom volatility charts.
Cool.
And they'll use that for that purpose. So that's where we're at there. And so what does that put us from? What's our number of X's? I guess I could look on the website, but if we're at 19 and change right now, I'll just say 19, and we say 4 zeros and a 5. We're at 380x from the all-time low. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
All right. So yes, I hate the current price, and I don't like the current situation. I like that we're in a bear, and I have to deal with like everybody else. But there you go.
There you go. It's it's incredible that it that it went so high, but it's also incredible that it's still going, and it'll continue to go as long as people participate. And you don't need new people. This is not a Ponzi scheme. It's a situation where the gains can always be paid out by the smart contract based on paying trustless yield in hex terms. So
In hex terms, yep.
Yeah.
And so then what do you think the third question was? These are pretty consistent day-related stuff, right?
All-time high.
All-time high. There you go. And it's been 465 days from the all-time high.
How long has it been?
465 days.
465.
465. So that's September 18th, 2021, roughly, right? So I have I've got about a dozen slides like this that are percolating to kind of go through and keep up to date. Just different. Lots of people have really good information they put out already. It's just a different approach, different way to get more information out, maybe to a different group of people, maybe as a PDF type of thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Just so people have it. Because there's apparently there's a ton of people that are involved with Hex that we know this from just looking, that some of them never come back, right? We know that just for the fact that their wallets never move, for whatever reason, right? Something's happened. But there's a whole bunch of them too that just don't come back on a regular basis, and don't, for whatever reason, life's in the way. Not everybody can spend 24 hours a day engaged with Telegram and Twitter. And even if you are, you're going to miss a whole bunch of stuff, right? So there's probably some argument to, having good information available to people, where they don't have to dig a whole lot to get to it.
Totally. Yes, I agree. I think a lot of people watch YouTube shows to get the information condensed and without so much variability. There's a lot of noise on Twitter, understandably, and some people like it because there's lots of noise on there. But that's why a lot of people are effective streamers is because they can take the noise and they can turn it into signal.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I like what you've done with your shows, because you take a lot of extra care for the audio people.
Oh yeah.
People that are listening. So I was kind of thinking about that too. Maybe that's an approach to have, not only a document, but go over it on a video and put it in words succinctly. So somebody can actually listen for 20 minutes and be able to do it.
Yeah.
Be able to hear what's going on, and maybe give them that much of their time back. Because ultimately one of the things we really, at least I really got involved with Hex about, was the idea of not having, I may decide to do, but not having to be engaged 24 hours a day, watching charts and watching what's happening and making sure everything's there. Because I don't have to, it just does what it does. It's locked. Come back when it's time.
Yeah.
Now, are you an Alexa user?
I have been in the
You
past.
haven't? So, there's an Alexa, what's it called, skill out there for Hex. And so you can actually add, it's a little difficult to listen to, because there's so many zeros involved and decimal points sometimes, but you can ask it and add it to your daily brief. It'll give you the current Hex price, TShare rate, that type of stuff.
I used to have that set up, and yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I'm not sure I've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah, it was fun to do. I've looked at trying to build some skills out there, but I haven't gone down that path. Everything requires more learning. Yeah, to figure it out.
Yeah. So all of you Alexa users out there, go ahead and add the Hex skill to your Alexa device so that it'll come up in your daily brief.
That's the kind of stuff I like to see sometimes, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure other people have done the same thing, I can't help but search for Hex and see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when that got added, I put something on Twitter about it. It was like back in the early days, back when maybe I was only a couple months into streaming, if that.
Yeah, that was 2020, right? That
Yeah.
it came out. And I think I've had it kicking around since then. What other things are going on? Oh, I did have a chance to work on, I told you I had a nuke leaderboard, and I showed that last week. And I did have a chance to kind of look at that the other day. Kind of threw myself off, though. I looked and I was like, oh, it's not working. I must have screwed something up. I think we had a day with no nukes.
Whoa.
I thought it was me, but I think it turned out to be that nobody nuked their stakes. But we did have some interesting nukes occur, from people who pretty much are like serial nukers, right? Like they've done it before, they did it again. And, so it really makes me wonder why. Is it rage quitting?
Hacks?
Maybe hacks. But, some of it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We did have four get, four nukes yesterday, the 27th, UTC, for about 100,000 hex. Was the total amount. That person had lost, right?
Thanks to everybody who's joining us right now. Got 115 watching live, a couple thousand in the replay usually. So hit the like and subscribe button. go to ChrispyMan's YouTube and Twitter and hit the subscribe button there.
We're trying to cheer Matty up.
That's
He's
right.
only got one wing healed.
Hey, it's Future Us. Good to see you in the comments there.
Future Us. All right. The drunk
But
sign-in.
nukes, I mean, yeah. I mean, if imagine being a hacker and not knowing where to go to understand how the early end stake penalty works. Trial and error.
Yep. Well, and we had we've been also seeing, they pop up and the question comes up a lot because people see it. We are tracking and we know when people end early, what the progress is. And we've been seeing, I don't want to call it an uptick because I don't know that it's true that there's more of them, but we've been seeing 50% emergency end stakes, and some higher ones. Like today we had 70 different stakes that were greater than 50% that were ended. But it looks like someone's also going back and ending GA'd, good accounted stakes that were good accounted out there. Because some of the ones I'm showing have 100% progress. So, even though they were penalized, they got penalized for the lateness, not for early. So we've seen some of that. And then, I know people will get bent out of shape over it when they see it. You got to remember how much we have daily coming in and out of the system. So yes, there was, maybe 500 or 600 TShares, right? That were emergency end stake. But, out of 10.2 million, it's not a significant number, It doesn't
So you
affect
said
the
it's
system.
500 a day?
Well, I'm just looking at today. I'm just saying, that there appears to be that we had about that amount, maybe twice that much total. I got to go through and actually look at it. I could show you my screen if that would help. Would that be useful?
If we're just going off that number, sure, yeah, go ahead.
Would that be useful? Because maybe that'd be good.
Yeah. Just using that first number you threw out, that's 182,000 TShares a year. And then let's say 182,000 times an average of 6 years. That's about a million, 1.09 million on a total timeline. That does seem high. That seems like 10%.
Yeah, but you did that over a long
So
period of time.
today must have been an unusually high day. Well, but TShares are measured based on an average stake length of 6 years. So,
well, yeah,
there's
this year
10 million TShares, and
so in 2022, we saw so far about a 4% drop in TShares from beginning of the year to end of the year, roughly. That's my calculation shows that, anyways. Hopefully, I'm right.
Are we talking about what's been emergency unstaked or what's been lost?
No, just total.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
so in that case, so just looking at that. But let's go look at those
makes more
emergency end
sense.
stakes. Yeah, I'll try to be more clear. Somebody offered to send me some marbles to put in my mouth. They get a little tongue tied sometimes on our streams. So I'll try to enunciate a little bit better. If we go look You know, the way I had done this, I had penalized stakes here. I had set this one up. I just haven't gotten back around to changing this. And so this just shows all the penalized stakes for the day. So I'll take the actual end date and just bring it up to 27. This is why I said I probably got to look at those numbers a little bit differently. If I went on a different screen or had to set up differently. So today we did have 83 stakes that were penalized.
Whoa.
Now, how did that happen? Looking at the numbers here, some of these were already at 100%. You know, they're well overdue, right? Or a little bit overdue. So they might have just been penalized because they were late. There might have been some GAs in here, you know, good accounts that are in here and whatnot. So there definitely were some penalties today, which we would have seen on X daily stats. For the purposes of this one, I don't add up the penalties here at the bottom on mine. And the reason I don't do that is this is actually the calculated penalty. It isn't necessarily what gets distributed to people, whether they're stakers, the OA. And what I mean by that is you can have a greater penalty than all of your yield and your original stake, right? And so sometimes this number exceeds your yield plus the principal. And so adding it up would not give me a number that would actually tell us how many penalties we had for the day. Adding up, you know, doing the math to, you know, the opposite math to figure out exactly what the penalties is what you would have to do. Does that make sense to you or not? What I'm saying?
Because it's like a calculated number that the smart contract reads or something.
Yeah, because you can because the reason you end up with nukes, right, where somebody loses all of it, is their penalty actually exceeds what their yield and principal is.
Okay. Yeah, that's
right. But you're not going to get that. That isn't, even though that's the calculated penalty, that just means that if it ends up being less than zero, it's zero. Right. So
yes.
And what ends up getting distributed is you know, through the penalty calculation or through the penalty mechanism is the principal plus the yield. You know, half to the staker class, half to the OA.
Yes.
You know, and I continue to marvel at how diverse our system really is and how people operate here. Because they're just numbers. I'm always surprised by numbers that are out here and what people are doing. These numbers look kind of big because I was fooling around today and ended up with many decimal points. But, you know, we have, you know, 200 hex were staked and somebody did go through the trouble, whether it's a contract or one of the games or something, to end these guys, right? 400, 300. I wouldn't even spend the time to do it, you know?
Yeah.
The gas obviously would exceed even if they were going to get the full payouts. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So those types of things.
Weird.
And so what'll happen is a lot of people come in, they'll look at this stuff, and they'll send me comments back to the Hexfire email or in Telegram or on Twitter. And what I'll do is I'll go through them and, you know, try to adjust the models to make them look better, you know, address whatever the concern is or thought. So cool. What am I going to show you next? Because I was talking about that. Yeah, I kind of mixed the two topics. I was talking about the nukes here, and you know how many were nuked, you know, at a certain time frame, and so that's where I started. So I'll go here to the actual ones here. And so in terms of nukes, we had 17 TShares nuked today.
Ah, okay.
So when somebody says, they raise the alarm, I always wonder, just how big of a deal it really is, right? And then so we go look at, since the beginning of the month, it's 898 TShares since the beginning of December 22,
Mm.
right? And so that's the equivalent of a dolphin, right? Roughly, a little bit less than a dolphin, maybe 20% in a dolphin position. And so even if that was 1,000, 12,000 TShares in a year, it doesn't make a whole big bump just by itself. And I think that led me to the other thing I was talking to Patrick and a bit about. We were looking at, and I think I need to go to charts to see what it is. And this chart doesn't show it really well, but this is what I was working off of. The data behind the scenes on this. And these are the stakes that were ended and started in a particular month or year. And I can actually drill down to them. And we know that because we believe that because we're going to see stakes, shares cost more HEX, that you're going to have less started than ended in any particular time frame. And it's really hard to pinpoint what that looks like, like how many are being restaked.
Mm-hmm.
So it varies, and that's kind of like the holy grail, is to kind of understand
Yes.
what people are doing with restaking. And
Yes.
there's some projects I hear out in the rumor land coming that might address some of these things with other protocols and stuff, ways to reward people. But probably best to wait until those actually get past the finish line to talk about them. But these are examples. Like in December, we had 714,000 end. Get started, 717,000 start. And then we had so far 875,000 end. So a little bit of a deficit.
Yeah.
And which is why you see the chart going down, right, in numbers of TShares. But in adoption mode, that may very much shift.
Yep.
Well, we were talking about maybe coming up with some idea of, it wouldn't be exactly a forecast. It's kind of more like a swag, because forecast kind of insinuates a lot more about what's going on. But you look at the trends and maybe kind of insinuate where you think TShares will go between now and 15 years from now.
Yeah.
Will they be at 6 million? Will they be at 3 million, 7 million? Honestly, all those numbers are in the game, right? They're just different probabilities of whether they would happen, because it really depends on the stakers doing whatever the stakers are going to do. One of the other things we were looking at is the payouts here and what conceivably they might do. And here's a couple different models, which we've probably talked about before, about what they might look like over time. You may remember this very flat line is the Hopper multiple.
Yes.
And that corresponds to a very linear mathematical, type of approach over time. And so we back calculated what we thought, those payouts might look like over time based on that share rate. And then we have, and this is kind of what I mean by swaggish, we have these types of lines where we kind of looked at the system and said, well, this might be what the payout looks like based on some number of TShares that might still be in the system, and it's just maybe just a little bit better than a guess, right? But it's an intelligent guess. Maybe it's a couple steps better.
Yeah, that's super fascinating to be able to predict using the future market supply to see how the T-share rate will look in the future, or whatever is being used in the Hopper multiple, whether it's based on past staking behavior, even that seems to be tracking pretty accurately as far as those things go.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me too. I obviously must be, right, because I'm working with the data. But just the idea that you can go look at this information and verify it for yourself. Like there's nothing that other than math, there's maybe two things that I've worked on that don't exist in the public domain, but we put them in the public domain. And the two things that we worked on were the Hopper math, the Hopper multiple math, because Hopper developed that himself. And so we use a calculation for that. And the other thing is this payout thing. And neither of them are required to do any of the math, that we have. And so my point about bringing that up is it might be difficult for everyone on this stream who watches us to go find this information, but it's there to be verified. And be validated, and it's public information.
That's a big deal.
For the future of us, it better be.
Hey, it's Future Us. Welcome.
Hey, Crispy, how you doing, Maddie? Yeah. Hi. Thought I'd drop in.
Thanks for joining.
Well, you're welcome. I've been enjoying the content. Thank you, Crispy. Love that data.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. It's good to have the insights. As we're twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the price to go to bigger and bigger discounts, it's really cool to be reminded that there's real substance, behind the product and how it works and whatnot. And that's for dog. What are you saying?
Hey.
Is it dinner time, doggy? Is it? Yeah, sorry, no camera because I'm half naked and sweating in my caravan and stuff. So, yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, thanks for joining us. I know we can continue to have good conversations about Hex. One thing that was on my radar this week was the Gnosis safe airdrop, because it's because Hexicans who used staker.app before were the biggest group of people that qualified for the Gnosis safe airdrop thing, which is actually a pretty strange type of airdrop. They're keeping half the coins for 4 years. You're like staked. And I'm not sure if they drip them to you or what, but slowly the world is waking up to this idea of time locking being a good thing. And Hex has already been operating flawlessly for 3 years, and then you've got people kind of following in the same footsteps, it seems. But I hope all the Hexicans went out there and claimed their real Gnosis safe tokens. That there were a lot of scams out there, and the claim phase is over. I had seen something from the Gnosis team that said that they would be allowing people to claim until the end of the year. That was back in September. And then I kind of got caught myself. I had a couple test wallets that I had, one of them I wasn't able to get to the seed words to claim because I thought I had more time. And because I'm injured and all that, but the claim process was really weird. But that's something that apparently a bunch of Hexicans might end up getting a bunch of free money. And you know, if you looked back in the day, what happened when people got like a Uniswap airdrop? I mean, I follow a couple wallets that got Uniswap airdrops of $1,200 back in the day. What was that, about half a year into Hex or something, or a year into Hex even? And those wallets have over 1 million Hex in them that they got for free. So that'd be pretty cool if the Hex discount wants to continue, and then people get airdropped a bunch of Gnosis safe coins and those become super valuable. That'd be a nice little win for Hexicans.
Wouldn't it? Reminds me of the uni days, maybe.
Yeah.
And thank you for the reminder. Maddie sent me a reminder. Might have only been yesterday morning or perhaps the day before that. Don't miss out on the Gnosis thing. And I'm like, yeah, I did that months ago. But I clicked the link and thought I'd go have a look. Because that was a link for instructions for people using Staker app, and I'm not one of them. And I thought, hey, this is good. And so I logged in and did the thing. And in my Gnosis safe, in the queued transactions waiting to be executed with my claim, I'd signed it. I'd signed it with one wallet and then had Bear sign it with her wallet. And something to do with the claim might be a little different. It needed to be then separately executed. Like usually if I just do a send, the second signature does the execution. And so I must have done that, seen it confirmed, closed the laptop and went, yep, done and dusted. So,
we had that same problem.
Yeah. So it seemed, unless I was half asleep, but yeah, it seemed to take 3 transactions or 3 signings for the one multi-core. But anyway, so thank you for that. So Nanny missed out. 11th hour. Yeah. Otherwise,
well, I'm looking at the numbers right now. There are only 11,196 addresses who claimed, it looks like, based on holders. And
man, that's a low number, man.
Yeah, it's very low. It's very low.
I mean, so what? 99% of them are Hexicans, then probably. If it's that
could
low.
be. I mean, I mean, it could be that half. It could be a quarter.
Half,
it could be
75%.
Yeah.
Unless we're all maxis now, we just don't care about Gnosis safe DAO tokens. That's possible, I suppose.
I mean, we have 118 people watching. I could create a little YouTube survey here in the live chat, and we could ask people if they claimed their Gnosis airdrop.
Did you claim?
How was Christmas Day, Crispy? Oh, Christmas crispy. Oh, I like that.
It was very crispy. I don't know what happened where we were, but food went on sale.
Oh, yeah.
And I may have mentioned to you before that I like to smoke meat. Open up the jokes for that one, but I'm into wood pellet smoking, as a lot of people know. So I do that. I like to do my own ribs and whatnot, but I was able to get a very nice rib roast for reasonable before COVID prices, which was crazy.
Cool. And then smoked. What kind of wood did you use?
I usually will use a combo, competition blend, but I favor hickory and apple.
Okay.
That type of thing. And I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know that I push the button and make sure my smoke comes out.
That's what you like. Well, we don't have hickory trees here. We don't have apple trees. We don't have, we have some apple trees, I guess. We don't have maple. We don't have just about any tree you guys can think of except spruce. We don't have that. So it's always interesting to me. I guess there's a whole world of smoked meats that I'm yet to discover.
Oh yeah, and they're different depending on the country you go to.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the voting open now on YouTube. Did you claim safe airdrop? 20 people have voted already. That's pretty good. And so go check it out. we're losing people to the smoked meats conversation.
Oh, never mind.
Sorry about that.
Couple things, eh?
But then again, this is the time Randy Hilarski usually goes live too. So it could be that we just retained the exact normal amount of people we normally would. So, yeah, it looks like 26 votes, 15% have claimed the safe airdrop. Yeah, I did a survey on Twitter to see where I should hold the next mass hex meetup, and the choice, and I did the little, what is it? It's the Elon thing where I said I will abide by the results of this survey, of this poll. I think that's what it says.
Oh dear.
And, yeah, and the two choices are Las Vegas and Austin, Texas. Now, I have a theory that Hexicans from Texas are the most enthusiastic ones out there. And the reason I came to that conclusion is because I went to at least 10 different cities, and Crypto Sparbuck went to 46 cities around the US holding their Hex workshops. And the one that was the most attended by far, other than the Hex conference that I held, where 500, well, close to 600 people bought tickets for the Las Vegas event, March 6th through 9th. But before that, we had 200 people show up to the Austin meetup of the Crypto Sparbuck 5555 tour.
That was summertime, wasn't it, in the US? Because you're going
spring.
Oh, spring. Okay.
Early, very, very early. Yeah, like the end of winter, basically.
Well, yeah, I guess in Texas, more people could have got their cars out of the garage and stuff, I suppose.
Yep.
If it was on spring. Yeah.
Hey, speak of the
go
devil.
Texas, go Texas. Yeah. Texan coin holder here. Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted. Hang on.
Ebit's in the chat here. He's one of the two frontmen for the 5555 tour. The person who's probably met the most Hexicans out of anybody in the world. It's Ebit. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of people are liking the Texas idea for my next meetup.
Yeah, I think that idea of returning to the Lone Star State thing has been on the table for a long time in pubs and
well,
you know, I don't know. It's just what I hear. It's not like I live there, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
So I've got 774 people have voted on the Twitter survey that I said I will abide by. And right now, 56.5% of people have voted Austin, Texas. 43% of people have voted Las Vegas. So it is close. And I am hoping that people choose Austin, just to be clear. But
not that we want to influence the voting at all.
No, I do want to influence the voting.
Oh, absolutely. You do?
Yeah, I have to host the thing, you know. But,
oh dear.
Hey, that's what I said. I said I would go along with either one.
You should have put Japan in there and really test your resolve.
Well, there's 3 days left, so it's, you know, next person to spin up a bot farm or something could tip the scales. You know, I might have to campaign more if it gets closer. But right now, I mean, you know, last night it was a 60-40, so I was a little bit more confident at that point. But I have dropped the link, so whether you're watching on the replay, just open up the live comments on the replay and you can see where I've shared the link, or if you're watching live, you can go and vote. There's 774 people who have voted in the last day and a half to weigh in on where I should host the 2023 Mass Hex Meetup. Yeah, go Texas.
I got my passport.
Sweet.
I international travel passport. I haven't had one of those for about 15 years. So who knows? No expectations.
Yeah.
It's one less flight
Abit,
if you do it in LA.
Abit
It's one less
voted
flight
for
for me if
us.
you do it in AA. In LA.
Okay, well, that wasn't one of the choices.
Dang.
Yeah.
Texas is cool though, because I could fly in via Mexico. That'd be more fun.
Yeah. People have done that. Yeah, and Abit's been streaming more recently, so everybody should make sure to check out his channels. Check out ksb.tv on everywhere. But yeah, been watching Abit's streams. Furu Finance is streaming every day. That's a up and coming streamer that I've cross promoted a lot with. He had Crypto Coffee on his stream today. Still catching up on all that. Got Crypto King in the chat. Boom. What's up? And by the way, I promote Hex meetups all over the world, even if I'm not the one who is organizing it. So if you're like a known Hexican, at least, then if you send me a message, I will possibly send out the invite on my Telegram group of people who've gone to Hex meetups before. So a number of people have done that. I probably send out one at least once a month. So check that out.
Yeah, it's good. And I'm trying to see if there was a hint in there. I'm contemplating maybe saying what town I'm in here in New Zealand, just in case there's someone wants to have a meetup tonight. But but I think I'm coming down with a cold, so I'd have to wear a mask, I suppose. Yes, announcement to follow or not.
Looks like Abit's working on a new project to release all of Richard Hart's shorts.
I heard that's a thing on the internet. Yeah.
We at this channel, we don't know what you mean by short. It's all of these. Everybody watching is addicted to the 3 to 6 hour live streams.
And nothing but longs here.
You could mean shorts or shorts. Which one is it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, probably the video type, but
probably the video type. Could be his trading shorts. He's a fan of shorting on the markets.
But there are people out there who enjoy the shorter content. They're definitely not the ones watching this channel, but they exist in greater number than the people watching this.
I stumbled across it accidentally, had autoplay on, and clicked what I thought was a normal video, but it turned out to be a short, and they just kept coming. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So here you go.
Well, yeah, the short videos are trying to vampire attack the long videos, but we've got a huge walled garden because our viewers are staked for 6 years. Oddly enough, just like ourselves. So but I will go, Abit, I will go to your channel and I will promote that for sure, because I appreciate all this man does for the cause. Actually, I also want to show Abit's banner, because it is the last Hex meetup that I organized was the Hex conference, which still holds the record for the greatest number of Hexicans to all get together all at once. Yeah, you heard it. The people in London did not win.
Yeah,
it was close.
Manny's not bragging there either. It's just fact.
No, I'm not bragging at all.
That's good. We don't like braggers.
But yeah, that's a legendary picture of Abit with the whole crowd there. And he is rebranded to Financial Scientist. Very good. And yeah, you can here. I'll drop a link to his Twitter here in the live chat. And everybody watching, even on replay, remember, you can still pull up those links. And then Abit is here. He says, I've made 20 plus short videos of Richard Hartwin. In 2 months, I got 150,000 views on TikTok, 105,000 views on Instagram, and 80,000 views on YouTube. And now he's giving out a Dropbox link for people to be able to download all of those videos. And then you can post it yourself. Let's make Hex go viral. Hashtag Pulse Chain, hashtag Richard Hart was right, hashtag Hexkins. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to like and retweet that.
If I share it with both of my followers and they share it with both of theirs and so forth and so on, we'll be viral by the end of the day.
That's right. That's how
It's
the
just
math,
math.
it checks out. Yeah. So now that people have stayed tuned in for 1 hour and 16 minutes, and these are the people who they don't go for the short content, so I'm willing to give them a little bit extra, right? So here's my latest strategy, you could call it thinking about my accumulation of hex in a bear market. I realized basically in the past week that I'm pretty sure I can buy maxi or deci or whatever types of tokens I want. And if I time lock them and time pays me, which could come out one day, that would be a pretty sweet way to earn trustless yields and have more rewarding components of behavior change, because because it's like I'm paying myself back over time. So it's like an incentivizing drip that then I could continue to restake, or it's going to be a weekly reminder, I think, that that I've done something that is going to pay me in the future, and it pays in hex terms, and in particular in TShares terms in a way. So so I didn't want to lead with the best information, and I wanted to wait until we got kind of into deeper part of the video to throw that out there, because there's only so many deci and maxi tokens out there even. And if that gets bought up to the point of having a premium instead of a deficit or a discount, then that gets to be a point where maybe it incentivizes somebody to come along and create another contract. Maybe the Maximus DAO guys do another one, and then that gets bought up, and then they do another one, so that'd be a pretty cool way to solve, in my opinion, like more than one problem. Maybe you don't want to call it a problem, but I think it's something more that can be done with Hex that's, in my opinion, not taken away from Hex. It's actually adding something in a decentralized type of way.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you with the maxi, I have to think about that a little bit more. But adding an additional one, just thinking gameplay wise, I would first want to see that there's so much demand that the reasonable net asset value today is already at, based on the price and number of tokens, is already at what the fair market value is for.
I was analyzing them this week, and it was all over the place.
Yeah. And that's what I was kind of thinking. Well, if you look at all of them,
the only thing that matters though is actually the liquidity. and the liquidity is very
Yes.
low. It's like $30,000. So what that means is like it's already so close that the market. I'm not necessarily saying what the market wants, but like the fact that if you wanted to use Hex with Time Pays Me, a time locking contract, that's coin agnostic, then you'd be missing out on the APY unless you had a token that's already wrapped, basically. And so it's kind of really convenient that there's already coins out there that are already on coin ranking websites. They've been audited. They've existed in the wild. I mean, and I'm not being cryptic that like I'm going to do this, like quite the contrary, like I'm just saying I'm hypothesizing live, just having a conversation like we do on Tuesday nights for the past 109 Tuesdays. So it's really people hearing kind of my cutting edge thoughts, and I don't know. It's definitely exciting to me because I can see a lot of potential there. But also in game theory, if there's one minor thing that you change, sometimes it makes way more sense or way less sense.
Yeah, I was just going to wonder if maybe bleeding edge thoughts. So we used to, I don't know if that's a common phrase over there, but in the computer industry, in the area I was working in, we stopped using cutting edge, and salespeople would come and say, "Yeah, it's on the cutting edge," and we'd try to make it go, and there'd be bugs everywhere. So we called it the bleeding edge. But I'm sure that must be a common saying. But I don't know. You have very optimistic and very what's the word? Creative, very creative thoughts, and we have long discussions sometimes, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. You'll say something and then I'll go, no, it's blah blah blah, and then you'll go, yeah, but, and I'll go, oh, I didn't think of that. 2 hours later. That's who we're dealing with here, people. This is Matty Allen.
Yeah, thanks.
Amazing brain.
Thank you.
And Crispy, all your evidence of how amazing your brain is right there on hexfire.io. So it's probably even more amazing than that. But
you too, future us. Come on. Nobody else figured out how to make a claw. Come on. Claw staking.
Oh, the claw.
Come on.
Okay. All right. No, I'll take it. Thank you.
We all have we all have our things. Hey, maybe you guys can help me with this. Have you ever seen? Well, I thought it was a claw. Maybe you didn't call it.
It is a claw.
Yeah, it's a claw.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So you didn't even know what it was. That's how good it was.
No, I thought it was a claw. But you ever see how communities like ours will do things like what's the right way to say this? Like pizza giveaways and stuff like that. Like gifting you pizza. I often wondered how because they do that a lot on Reddit, right? So if you go to Reddit, for instance, it may be defunct now, but there's like order anything from Amazon or order a pizza, and people will do altruistic, albeit it's kind of campy and but it's fun, And somebody will say, "Hey, they make an appeal. I'd like a pizza because," and then somebody sends them a pizza. I always wondered how we'd be able to connect crypto to that. To my knowledge, I still don't have the ability. I mean, yes, I can pay a whole bunch of fees and stuff, but I haven't seen any companies yet where I can clearly just send them an ERC20 token and something comes out the other end.
That's a brilliant idea to connect those things. And, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody came along and started using Time Pays Me in a way where you could send somebody basically something that drips. So if I wanted to do a pizza thing, maybe I would send my brother basically a Time Pays Me vault that would buy him a pizza every week. And, I could be dripping USDC to pay for the pizza. And yeah, I mean, Domino's pretty much already has like programmable ways of ordering and stuff. So
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately. There's a button I can buy for Amazon where you can push the button and pizza shows up in 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, we're looking for a front end developer, somebody to, make your pizza thing. So,
all right. I'm glad. I guess
open
that's a good thing I'm asking.
call out here for anybody who wants to.
Before you ask for that, you need to get someone to do all the negotiations and legal legwork and everything for the interface between the blockchain and the pizza store.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how did they get the message? For one thing, I guess they could watch Maddie's stream every Tuesday night or something or other, and you can read off the orders. That'd be
yeah. Well, hey, in a design like that, to the extent possible, you'd want to have enough cutouts, right? So that there is some measure of, some measure of anonymity. What's the right word? Some way to be somewhat anonymous, right?
Yeah, you would.
So I don't want to be like, hey, Maddie, we've got winner.
How do they solve that in the Reddit forums?
Yeah, nobody cares outside of crypto like we do. It's just
they give out their home addresses.
Well, somebody gets the address, right? How else? I mean, what I have seen with that has been more like email messages or DMs or PMs with the certificate code. It says, hey, here's a redeemable card. Here's your card. Call it in.
Gift cards.
Solution.
Yeah. You can get it. even the most altruistic things. You can get in trouble just for giving people gift cards, because certain elements of society's leadership think money laundering, for example, straight away, because gift cards. There's just, but people do it, of course, innocently and legally. But there's just so many traps. It's great until it gets
true from a
and
development perspective. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, people, just when we're talking about ideas, it doesn't mean you can just do it. You have to come up with lots of ideas, and then you have to figure out the things that you can do versus the things you can't. And the things that you can't turns out to be a really long list.
Yeah. And a lot of the things you can't turns out to be because you don't have the resources to do the simple things. Some other bugger wants to chop your tree down. I'm jaded. I'm jaded from that stuff. Thank goodness the crypto community at large is still developing new stuff and stepping forward boldly, because I'm taking some time off.
Well, Staker app version 2 is coming out soon, I bet.
Probably that'll be cool.
In the next month, maybe.
Things they're talking about, and I'm sure it will. That was shaping up to be something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like really cool.
Oh, yeah. It's going to kick ass. Let me see if any of this, I could probably share a screen with like the previews. Staker app version 2 is going to be much more gamified. So maybe Steph will be able to come on this show and talk some game theory to the audience. Here we go. Yeah.
We have to complete the solve puzzle first to see who gets to log in.
Yeah.
That's a creative idea.
Yeah. So here's some teasers. It says next week, testers will start playing with Staker app v2. And this was 2 weeks ago. So they've got obviously a brilliant artist who is depicting the tinkering turtle here. And you can see that there's a gamified level of it's not particularly clear here. It's part of the mystique of the teaser, but basically, could show you your position within your league. And it could also show like your security health in a gamified or a number format of some sort, a score basically. And and this is looking pretty good. And then there's another screenshot here. You guys can see this, right? I'm gonna take that
Yeah, we
for
can see it.
yes. Okay, cool.
I
Yeah,
thought that
and
was
this is
in a turtle shell there initially. I'm sure that's Kermit's head.
well, yeah, and this is showing that that imagining if a tinkering turtle would be worth $130 million in the future. That's pretty exciting. You know, you didn't hear the moon math from me. Maybe you did. I don't know. But then there's a panel here that shows how strong your security is. That's awesome. And some other screens that are familiar from what's already in StakeWrap. So, but then, I mean, he also teased on a live stream tons and tons of different achievements based on different behavior. And that would definitely be welcome in the ecosystem. But I also, you know, I'm excited to compete with Steph because he went on Corey Costa's show and he said the reason he hasn't released StakeWrap V2 is because he doesn't see any competition. So if he wants competition, I'll be his competition and I'll kick his ass in a friendly, you know, constructive way. I think in the message I said something like hashtag, you know, friendly competition or something.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what he wants, I guess. Don't we all?
Yeah. I mean, like after saying that on a Hexagon live stream, like, yeah. All right, man, let's go. Because actually, TShares app did cause StakeWrap to lower their fees, and that has saved real people probably millions of dollars, maybe not millions of dollars, but
allegedly, surely. We don't know that for sure, do we?
I think he said it publicly.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Hex has been flawless for so long, I'm starting to forget these major milestones.
So yeah, StakeWrap V2 should be coming out soon. It's on my short list of reasons why I'm super excited about Hex, despite the fact I'm excited because it's on sale. Also scared, of course, fear and uncertainty and doubt, but pretty much there's nothing I can think of that stops Hex from being great, which is, you know, there's nothing that's changed, in my opinion, from a game theory point of view on Hex. And so that's a positive, the price discount. But then the Highest of Stakes documentary, I believe, is going to be phenomenal, literally phenomenal. So I'm excited about that coming out in the near future. Then you got StakeWrap V2. I'm guessing maybe it'll come out in the next month. I'm terrible at predictions, but that could be happening. Time Pays Me could come out someday. And I'm excited about that. Pulse Chain could come out someday. I'm excited about that. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff to look forward to.
It's coming.
I was celebrating 99-cent transactions on Ethereum on like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Like, what kind of terrible blockchain are we on? That I'm celebrating for $1 every time I want to do something on the blockchain? Like, what? When I started, it was a penny to do something on the blockchain.
It was.
They should have known it was going to be so successful and broken and not tried, right? It's,
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's dark sarcasm. Sorry, I'll give up.
Pulse Chain could fix the high fee problem.
Might do, eh?
At least I could do something on a blockchain that I wanted to do something on.
Yeah.
Without paying so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's going to have to be something like Pulse Chain because it turns out if you just plain fork the existing thing, nobody seems to care. And it dwindles away to just about nothing. Speaking of,
I mean,
the other one,
W and ETH F are like still around. ETH
Oh,
F
right.
just pumped like 50 or 100% in the past like week. Even though it went down, it's still down a lot. It's still maybe down 80% or something. But I've got like $200 in it, and it used to be like 500. So that allows me to like keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I don't see a huge amount of excitement in the YouTube, and what do you call it, crypto streamer, and what do you call it, influencers. People talking about it much. I suspect Pulse
Well,
Chain might be different.
yeah. I think the incentives are different for Pulse Chain,
Yeah,
at least
but,
for our community.
Very different. Yeah.
I don't mean to. I'm talking negative in general because I'm so tired and got this stupid throat thing going on. But I'm trying to fix it. Bear with. I was actually quite enthusiastic about Ethereum proof of work. At the very least, as a sort of a test case of what an all-in complete fork of the full system state, what might naturally evolve out of it, and I guess not surprising in hindsight, having seen copies of Hex where they changed just one little thing that they didn't like to improve it and goes to zero. There's a lot's got to come together, and you'd have to think community is a big part of that, but consistency, quality, good documentation, just everything, and that's what seems to be happening with Pulse Chain. Each little glimpse we get of this or that, it's even if it's an incomplete app or whatever, everything seems to look really polished and people are really caring about the way they're presenting it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to surprise. I really do. And that's something coming from a negative bastard like me.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Well, that's a good review.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I like giving reviews, especially when not asked. More human. They're not giving us orgasm today. Must be the wrong time of the year.
Oh, hey, you remember how Mark was on with us last week?
Yeah.
And then I ended up watching RG3 the other night, and Mark was on with him. Anyways, just general comments and thoughts. I don't know if I got the numbers right, but they were talking about X's on Pulse, and Pulse X got me all jazzed up again. Because I keep forgetting that I sacrificed for those chains, for those coins. I mean, I haven't forgotten, but it's not, I'm just waiting like everybody else.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not in the forethought of my mind. I was thinking, wow. And I keep coming back to the idea that this may truly be very big,
Yeah.
I don't know, no reason not.
I legitimately do forget about the Pulse X one for some reason. I forget that any of that even exists. And yeah, so I guess I will be surprised because there'll be this whole thing that I forgot about. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. But yeah, totally agree. It just seems to have all of the. Well, is it that it has all the elements, or that it's clear that the people involved really care about it having all of the elements, or a mixture of both? There's that sort of quality that just wasn't there. I don't mean quality in terms of better quality or worse quality, but an aspect of just how it's all going. It feels good, looks good. But yeah, the weight. Could do without the weight. We could all do without the weight, but
I almost got scammed back in like 2018 because I thought they were launching Ethereum 2.0, and I was watching a live stream and I was like, oh, they're really doing it. I need to send 24 ETH to this person. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lowered it. It's now only 24 ETH.
Well, I didn't have that many, so I gave up. But I was still a Bitcoin maximalist at that point. And
I was that far back. Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
yeah. Python Bitcoin for the win, to the moon.
Yeah. So
It's going to double again someday.
But it does, yeah. Pulse chain, everything. Well, even Hex. I wasn't watching Hex that closely before it launched. Like I didn't have a good. I hadn't watched every Richard Hart video at that point. And
Yeah, and you still managed to get in on day 4 or something. I had
Yeah.
been watching it all the way up until it launched, and then and didn't come back until 90 days after it launched. Law of attraction. See, that's what I'm so pessimistic.
It can take a couple years to build something good, and so but it's worked out. So that's why I'm still optimistic about Pulse Chain. You know, and it doesn't have anything to do with the Hex price or sacrifice or anything. It's just cool technology that is almost
Richard Hart streams were about the only thing
perfected.
worth watching on crypto back then. It's kind of weird to say now, I guess, but yeah, that was those were good years. Those 2 years leading up. They were.
Thank you so much to Hex19 for the $20 super chat. Hi, Maddie. Glad to see you're still here promoting Hex, traveling with family and friends while waiting for Pulse. No rush, RH. Just get it right. For sure. Well, thank you so much. And good to see you here.
I'm nearly asleep, guys. If that's not obvious. So
yeah,
I'll back on. Well, good to see you all. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Merry Christmas.
Yep. Everyone Merry
Christmas, their future.
Us. Thank you, Christmas. You too. Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Of your meet. I'll I might DM you a postal address. You can send some of that meat over. Might have to put it in a lead box to get it through customs, but we'll figure something out. All right. Catch you later, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, good. So, yeah, Merry Christmas. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Crypto Class. John the Melf Tony. Yep. Everybody's saying hi to each other in the chat. Price of Hex 1.99 cents right now.
It dipped down pretty good, came back up.
How far did it dip?
Well, whether this is real or not, I don't know, but 177.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just going off of trading views, so you know how accurate that is.
So I guess if people are experienced Telegram users and aren't going to get scammed by going on Telegram for the first time and go to t.me/hex trading, you will, I'm sure, see lots of people cursing and joking and giving good chain analysis on what's going on with buying and selling. And really, you should check out my Chain Analysis 101 course that's free if you don't know what to do with that kind of situation. If you're a beginner, then you usually don't start out going into the Telegram for a bunch of chain analysis gurus. But I don't know. Is Hex trading still how I remember it?
It probably is exactly how you remember it.
Cool. That's good news. That's good to hear.
Every once in a while, somebody wanders in there to ask a question. That's a really, really good question.
Yeah. Well, that's in long ago now live streams, maybe a year ago or more, Richard Hart would mention once or twice that that's where he goes when he wants to know why is the price going down? Why is the price going up?
Yeah, what's happening with the price? Yeah. Yeah, I spend some time there. I do. Kind of get a flavor for what's going on with the FUD.
Yeah.
Like I know.
Yeah, I should do a special report on that sometime. Should be part of the chain analysis 201 course or something.
Yeah, you know, and I've participated in some forums where I was the crap talker, right? Where so in totally different kind of venue, not this business, had nothing to do directly with money. So I really do get it. I do get the game and the fun of it. Yeah. I mean, it can be a lot of fun. Right? It's a little bit. It's not quite LARPing, but it comes close over a computer, right? Because you can be whoever you want to say you are and act however you want to act and all that kind of stuff. But it is very interesting to watch. And of course, I don't have all the information to know what's going on and what's really happening with all the comments. But social engineering is a real thing.
Mm.
Social media engineering is a real thing. And I mean, guys, you can't doubt that when someone wants you to think a certain way, there are strategies they can put in place to make you think that way. Now, is everybody part of some big giant conspiracy? No. I'm guessing that's probably not true, but it's not. You know, if there were a group of people that wanted to FUD for whatever reason, they can make the market move. They can, you know, to the extent that there's malleable people that will accept that, right? That argument. So yeah, it's a very real thing when people joke around about talking crap in order to drive price down to get a better price. It's real. Happens in the outside of crypto too.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I was reading an SEC case the other day of just people on, can't remember. I think it was Twitter. It was a big like group of guys on Twitter that were scalping, and I wasn't familiar with that term.
Yeah.
But apparently, I mean, I was just based off the context of what I was reading. Maybe I Googled it a little bit too, but this idea that there are actually people out there, and the SEC had documented this, that this group of people over like weeks and weeks, maybe months and months, they had been telling people one thing, creating trade groups and alerts, and basically drawing a huge audience of people. There were people trying to day trade, and they would tell them one thing, and then they would, in the next minute, I mean, it's not even funny, it's actually really messed up. In the next minute, literally the next minute to 5 minutes, they would be selling. And the crazy thing you could see from the record too was that, I mean, they were doing this. If they had just bought it and held, they would have like made way more money. It's like, I mean, it's like very mysterious and interesting from a psychological point of view, because I mean, these people were engaged in very odd behavior, in my opinion. But then again, I'm not selling anything to my audience, so it's just maybe a different mindset.
Yep. Well, you know, scalping, that approach is different than you know, even swing.
What's that?
Well, were you going a longer time frame for a month? You know, maybe weeks to a month. And I'm not like super trader knowledgeable. I'm just like you know, what I get exposed to. But I know some people who scalp, not through nefarious means, but they're thinking, and I'm drawing this from your comment. You know, they'll buy stock, and it goes up 20%, they sell it. Right, and so you know,
short-term traders
is a short-term kind of mindset. It might take a couple days or 3 days or 4 days, and sometimes they don't come out ahead at all. But you can always make the case with that type of, if you take an example and try to compare it to, oh look, like you could have compared this. A lot of people did to people who did that with Tesla. Remember Tesla 4x'd over a few months period of time, right? Well, you would have been much better off holding, but that isn't the game they're playing. That's not their game. Their game is buy, you know, sell, and take their small profit. You know, it's not about the companies at all. It's about the narrative. It's about what they can get out of it, when they can get it out.
Yeah. Well, and they kept, because they had to buy the shares before they would decide to tell people about it. And it was like some like group where like they would all be trying to, you could just infer based on the list of people's names and the list of trades that they did on the days and the times of those trades. The SEC printed this.
Yeah. They all got charged last week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was like last week or the week before or something. And yeah, I mean, that's scalping's wrong. And it's curious to me too, because like in Hex, it's literally the complete opposite, to the point where like myself as a streamer and like a lot of the streamers I know are staked like over 90%.
Oh, sure.
For years, provably.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But that's also, I think people listening to this know. But I mean, we were born of the idea that trading was bad. You know, that we should focus on long term, that we should stake in order to strengthen our hand and hold. Right. So, in generally, right, if you're a hex staker, I mean, you're out longer, and that's the idea. But we have quite a few people that are part of the community that I wouldn't call hex stakers. Maybe they have some stakes, but they attempt to scalp and trade hex all day long, right? And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that you can. I don't know that we can have a healthy market exist at this time, anyways, without traders. You know, without LP, without stakers, right? I think we need all of them. But
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to make a case against like people trading in terms of like, people should have the freedom to trade as, whenever they want. That's,
of course,
that's a basic freedom, but and I'm glad you pointed it out though, because I was drawing a huge distinction that it's wrong for YouTubers to say one thing and do another. And I like that the crypto that we're in has both degrees of transparency and degrees of privacy. Because for example, I can choose to have the address matty.eth, and anything that is connected with that I'm putting on the public record. And like but I didn't have to do that, and like it's always good to educate yourself, and which I did. But like, yeah, and so it's in my opinion, it's the best of both worlds to have transparency and privacy.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I wasn't reacting. You thinking you said anything? You were taking a hard stand. I was just kind of reflecting my thoughts about it.
Well, that was a good thought. Yeah, how that draws boundaries with like what we believe in and what we don't.
Yeah, it takes all kinds, man. It's just I do this a lot too. Give you kind of the other side. I'll look at. So I have a particular viewpoint on staking, and and I'm definitely slanted towards Richard, and what he's had to say. And when I say that, I mean I sound like a parrot, because I will say that staking ladders make the most sense, right? And so the extent that he said that, and he has said that a bunch of times too. But so I'll judge where I have no real. I have no place to judge, but I'm a human, so I'll do it anyways, right? So I'll sit there and go, what is that guy doing? I'll look at the new stakes getting made. Why is this guy staking 4 million hex for 4 days? This absolutely doesn't make any sense. But I truly, I have no freaking idea what they're doing or why. Maybe it's part of some greater plan that actually makes sense. But so me looking at their one stake, I'm like, this is silly, you know, because I would go through a process and say, well, what you should really do is stake that for, you know, as long as you can, but break it up and ladder it so you get the extra percentages of yield, you know, for going out longer for each. Anyways, I come back to that thought that in the end, yeah, who am I to say what they should do or shouldn't do? Maybe they do have a ladder. Maybe it just happens to be in, you know, 30 different wallets. You know,
Yeah, so what we're talking about right now, 4 million hex is $80,000 US currently.
Mhm.
So somebody's staking $80,000 for 4 days, and they're getting what type of return are they getting on that? Would we think?
I'll tell you what they're getting. Hold on one sec.
What's the best tool for people to use out there, or myself even, to calculate that? Maybe stakehex.today or something.
Yeah, I'm just going to my site to look. So 4 days right now is paying 0.102% ROI. 0.102%. So about 0.1%. Almost doesn't seem worth it, right? But I don't,
0.1%. That's pretty good.
I don't know. I don't know. 80,000, 0.1%.
That's what my fee is going to be. So
80,000 times 0.0.
It's 1 out of 1,000.
What is that? That's $80, right? So yeah, I you know, again, you know, sure, maybe I'm a little more risk adverse to making a mistake, maybe with the $80,000 stake and sending it somewhere by accident, which has been known to happen, or to merge the end stake it, though in this case probably wouldn't be so bad. But for, you know, a $75 gain over 3 days, 4 days.
Well, hey, that kind of makes sense to me, because I don't know, if you only put $80 in and then it was worth 80,000, that's 100x. We know that that's still in the game, right? 80. No, that'd be a 1,000x.
Yeah, they would have had to put a little bit more in, even on the best day. But yeah, your point's there. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say it's $1,000 that somebody put in, $1,000, and now, you know, every time they stake it for 4 days, they can get $80 out. And then, but if they stake it, let's say, for 8 days, they're only getting like 165. So they're thinking, yeah, why not? Why not take it every 4 days?
Yeah, it just seems to be an awful lot of work. And
well, it does it really, because like I'll be the first one to admit I mint my Hedron pretty often, more often than I think would be the best play.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I can't talk specific numbers without giving away what my stack looks like. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I would relate it to the example here. Like, even for me, if I really thought about it, yeah, if I had millions of hex and I wanted to keep them liquid, I would probably be doing short stakes. I don't know. Like, because, but that's the thing, is like, I keep my short-term bag really, really, really small, really small. I do intentionally, because I would rather, just, well, and that's why I'm creating Time Pays Me, because I need a system to force myself to manage it on a weekly basis. That's like the perfect, and I wouldn't have to manage it weekly, but it would be like, it'd be way easier to manage a short-term bag that way, because I could do a year-long stake and I could get 2% out every week. or whatever I wanted. And then I could do that with some of these other coins that I don't really believe in, but I don't care to sell. So I don't know.
Sure. Well, yeah, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. You know, that's why I was saying, who am I to criticize or even judge whether it was right? That's my point. So I'm in agreement with you.
Well, it's fascinating that you bring up that example, because that's a real world example of how somebody's using the system, and we're both trying to understand what the psychology would be of that individual user.
Yeah. Well, and I came down to, and I think I've mentioned it to you before, maybe in private, maybe on the show, but short, medium, long. I didn't start with anything but medium, but then I extended to long and then short philosophy, right? So that I have not shorting, but short term. For me, when I say short term, I mean, a couple of years worth of time. And each of those are almost different business models or different models. Um, and it's kind of, I see Keeps It Crypto 369 mentioning something right now. Yeah, that's exactly it, because those mediums eventually become shorts and the longs become mediums. And whatever your plan is for engagement, you need to figure out how you're going to move forward in time. I can't make a 5556 stake today. I can only do it tomorrow. So the only way I can move forward in the future and stay part of the system is by applying at least some idea, some method, right, to moving forward with the system.
I don't think this is too random, because it goes to that exact point. Like, you could take DESI that gets perpetually restaked, and you could time lock it for like 55 years in Time Pays Me, and then
Yes.
you'd be getting basically that dripping out to you, so you'd get some every week, but it would it would definitely be locked. And getting the highest APY you can get, except probably buying Maxi. I mean, you'd have to look at the actual math on what the premium is on Maxi right now versus how much has accrued, like how much interest has already been rolled into that. Because like the price of DESI and Lucky and all these different things that I wasn't too sure about at first, they make a lot more sense to me when we look at how that can become a non-tradable stake again. So I don't know, but I also want people to criticize me, and I want to know like what the community feedback is on all this type of stuff. That's why I'm bringing it up publicly, to have maximum transparency and get your feedback. So I have a Telegram group, t.me/smartvaultme, and that's where I'm asking for feedback on Time Pays Me. But I'm really excited, obviously, about how it can be used with Hex, and how it can just show people how good time locking can be. Because for me, I noticed an effect pretty fast whenever I started staking amounts of Hex that were valuable amounts of money to me. Once I started staking multiple thousands of dollars, at once, even though these were crypto gains, it still didn't feel good. But it was something that I believed in so much, I was doing it,
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, and it's real money, even though
it is.
it may be gains. And I do hear people use the house money analogy a lot, which I don't like. I don't like doing that, because I use it sometimes. And whenever I use this idea of house money, meaning it's just winnings, if you're at the casino, I bet my $5 I won 500. Well, that was pretty good. You should go home, right?
Yeah.
And but no, what I'll do is, that's house money, and I'll play until I think I'm going to get lucky again and lose, as an example. I don't know. Have you ever see Trump on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? So
I
there
don't
was,
recall it.
yeah. So there wasn't there. You ever get a chance, go look up that clip. He was funny. I think it was. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And this regular Joe dude, I don't know. Maybe he had already won 100 grand. Maybe it was 200 grand. And he asked Trump for advice, and Trump was, man, take the money. Right? Because you know, it was like it was, you already did the risk, and this is something we deal with, and I don't know what the right answer is. You already took this huge risk once the guy got in there. He's playing, right? He's taking this risk every step of the way of losing everything, double or nothing, right? Whatever the numbers are, right? Well, that's a lot of risk to be taken on, and yeah, maybe when you're not talking about life-changing money, that's okay, right? Maybe that's okay. You know, I probably wouldn't worry. I don't worry about going and buying a coffee, right? I don't, right? And so maybe that's okay. But I don't go buy cars every week, right? And in my world, you know, a $25,000 car is a lot, right? So I don't go spend 25 grand on a car. So there's a difference in that kind of magnitude. So if you have done well with something that's really appreciated in value, you know, yeah, if it's worth 25 grand, it makes sense to pull that back, right? That's not advice. But I think it's natural for all of us, and you can look at the charts, and so many people do the backwards math. They're like, oh, but wait a minute. But if you hold it, you'll get the all-time high, right? And people develop this weird thing where going from $5 to, I'm using just bullshit numbers, but $25,000 isn't good enough because you're going to miss the other 25, whatever the number they think it is. And I think that's where people do struggle with DCA out, you know, of a lot of different assets, not just crypto. But I think I heard somewhere that most common thing is for people just to ride it to zero. Everybody thinks they're a VC, you know. You're a venture capitalist. One of your 10 is going to make it. The other one's okay to ride to zero, but that isn't always how it works.
Yeah. Say more about that.
What do you mean in terms of like what venture capitalists might do, or how?
Yeah, what does like the average person think about writing things to zero versus a venture capitalist?
Well, I'm not an expert on this, so I'll only give my viewpoint, but quite often people will convince themselves, because they want things to go well, right, is that things will come back. You know, it's funny because it opens up the door for haters when we talk about Hex, but that things will come back, right? Where, you know, that they will continue to do what they've always done, you know, and so they'll try to stick with something longer than makes absolutely any sense because they're emotionally tied to whatever their dream was, their thought was about this, and they'll hold and, you know, ride it to zero. And so, you know, I think other people, I mean, I certainly have done it. I've had a few small investments I've done that with, you know, where I had belief and hope and, you know, in the stock market that it would work out my way, but it didn't work out that way. Anyways, I'm probably making word salad now, but
no, I mean, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that psychology, even though it's something that I've done a lot. I mean, and it has, for me, it hasn't been huge amounts of money, but that's the whole point. Is like, you know, whenever I could save even $200 here and there, sometimes I would invest it in things that I didn't, you know, I thought were long shots, such as like, I don't know, maybe 5, you know, stocks of something that is, I think it's going to be an industry in the future or something. But I mean, it's just, yeah, they went to zero and they got delisted, and it actually became nothing.
Don't you hate that? Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, but at some point, if I've already written it down like 90+% and it's down to like $20, I'm not going to cash out the $20. I'm gonna leave it in there.
Yeah, I wonder if there's somebody who out there that we can contact, maybe find who'd be willing to come talk to us that actually maybe has done some work in this area, you know,
Mhm.
of understanding the
Research on it.
psychology. Because exactly what we're also talking about is the capitulation of why people sell, or at least it's connected to why people sell at bottoms, right? Because they have lost and kind of dashed their hopes on what they thought the high was going to be, and so they finally decide they're going to take their marbles and go home, take whatever's left and go home, you know. And then
I bet it's based on what a significant amount of money is to the individual.
yeah,
I
I
think,
think you're probably right.
yeah, it's probably like people have a certain amount that they're not comfortable leaving behind. Like for me, it'd be like $20. I'm leaving it behind because who knows? And also, you know, or like, I mean, maybe that's not the best strategy even for like tax losses or something. I don't know. I don't even know. Well, I guess if it gets zeroed out,
Mm.
then that probably, but that's the whole point that I'm trying to make is it's such a small amount of money. It doesn't even, it's not something I'm even planning on looking into other than the intellectual curiosity now. But yeah, it's, on the other hand, there are coins that I had a couple $1,000s left in. You know, I had dollar cost averaged out maybe 10% at a time. That was Mimblewimble coin. I would say it was one that, you know, I got a 10x at one point, and that's probably the average of what I sold at. And it was just, I ended up keeping the last 10% of the coins, and I still have them, and I have no idea how much they're worth, but I can probably guarantee it's not more than $500. So, you know, it's there for me, there is a limit on what, you know,
Hmm.
what I'll leave behind and what I'll, because I mean, you also have to consider the costs of cashing out of something. So like, you know, if you're not on the Ethereum blockchain, it's different prices. You have to trust a centralized exchange to even sell any. And so that's another factor too. Like the response effort is what some would say in the behavior field. But yeah, I'll look into finding us a good guest on that topic. Human financial behavior off the blockchain. That's one of the interesting things too, is that the blockchain is the first example of a very transparent record of people's financial behavior. I mean, even to get access to what the population's credit card transactions are is not going to happen. Even if it was based on privacy, it would still be like trade secrets and proprietary information and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's you know, Hex is a pretty good data set. And I think lots of time locking coins will continue to build out analytics in that regard. But I also think it matters like which products have the best user experiences and are the most rewarding in a way that's actually wholesome for people, because people can tell the difference if they're becoming a trader versus becoming a saver.
Yeah.
Those
You
are,
know,
yeah.
kind of on this vein of getting financial guy maybe or lady who has that experience. Kind of offbeat comment. I might have made this comment to you once before. Do you recall? I don't recall because I guess it's been about 20 years since I went to college. But do you recall when final projects or research papers or dissertations are usually chosen and assigned? Is before the end of the year, proceeding?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the size of the project, sometimes it can be done like semesters in advance. Sometimes it's yeah, I mean, usually at the beginning of the school year, on the first day, the syllabus is going to tell you like what
What you
the
need to
schedule
pick?
is.
Yeah. I was wondering, maybe we ought to do is um, circulate some information around perspective. I don't know exactly what type of majors, but probably would be financial majors, that type of thing. But Hex is an awesome case study for them. Like
Oh,
if I
yeah.
had a kid who was in college and needed to choose a paper, was interested in crypto, and there's going to be like 10,000 reports written on crypto, right? Probably maybe more, maybe less, but there'll be a bunch of kids that'll do that, right? Students, because they're not kids now, but students are going to do that. What better example than something controversial like Hex? I mean,
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that because the co-pilot that I have for the hexconference.com coming up January 6th through 9th is Sticker Guy Win. And he is actually a college student who is doing a paper on Hex. And I know he was considering a few different angles. So I won't do any reveals on like what his topic was, but yeah, I mean, the more people that could get access to that data and try to understand it, especially from a psychology point of view, I definitely agree with. And I I could probably come up with some cool ways to get the word out in those academic circles. Yeah, especially at the graduate and even undergraduate level. I would say people, what a fascinating case study, and just the richness of the data. I mean, you've got 100%.
well, yeah, that's what I was getting at, because you really have that. I mean, I think people even in our community underrate just how important it is.
Yeah.
That you can go look at the contract, and with a little bit of effort and harder work, you can actually go pull all the data from all the transactions and see exactly what's happened on the blockchain. And even beyond that, because in the DeFi world, largely Hex has 99% maybe only traded on AMMs, automated market makers, right? In the
Oh, yeah.
DeFi world. And so then you have this other aspect of like what a true market might look like.
Yes.
What a true crypto market looks like. And that information is all available and on the blockchain.
Yeah. You've never had such a large sample size, well, a large population of people who are using automated market makers and time locking on this scale. So it's a unique thing that I think is super underappreciated by everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So we will get the academics on it. We'll have teams working around the clock. Well, kind of, because people are all over the world. Actually, the last time I checked my demographics, which admittedly was a while back, half of the people viewing these shows on my channel are from outside the United States. It's like 50-50.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the Hex community is definitely global. And my team of people has people exactly 1/3 the way around the world from each other. So like, there's myself, there's Future Us, and then there's a third. And yeah, we all live equally 1/3 the way around the world from each other. So we're literally working around the clock. But we're not, no expectations, all that good kind of stuff. So yeah, very, very, very good episode, I would say, because we got to process kind of what's going on in the market and make a bunch of really good points. I would definitely recommend rewinding for people who haven't caught all of it. And shout out to everybody watching on the replay. I have to admit, ChrispyMan, like I was riding the train the other day and I listened to our whole episode from last week. It was
really?
fantastic. Yeah, it was really good.
That's nice, man. I can't stand to hear my own voice, so
It's good for you as a streamer.
that's what they say.
Even if you just do a little bit, it doesn't like, just try a minute at a time at first.
All right. I'll give it a shot, maybe. I don't know. I've had a few comments about my voice before.
That it's great.
Yeah, most times I can't repeat them to my wife, though. I'll get in trouble.
Well, we have the Hex conference coming up January 6th through 9th. I've messaged out on Telegram and Twitter. I've collected over 50 responses from people who want to speak, and the conference, the final schedule will be created probably in the next week, so that I can get that out to people. And things are all coming together here. There have been people volunteering, which is super helpful. Shout out to everybody who is willing to help out with one thing or another. And I guess I teased on Twitter that I might do an in-person meetup in 2023. There'd be maybe more of a meetup style, because I've done a meetup style with 369 hexagons showing up at the end of June in 2021. Yeah, a couple of years ago now. And then I had the Hex conference. I got super positive feedback about both. But I think it might be more might be more people's style if we do like a meetup type thing. I don't know. What do you think?
You asking the chat? Or you asking me? I like the idea of the meetup myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. Listen, there's a place for all sorts of stuff. All right. But I liked what we did in Vegas the first time.
Me too. Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing another one. It might be in Austin, Texas this time, which is great.
Well, there's something to be said to be regionally located. People get there without a lot of cost. And
for sure.
One of the criticisms of Vegas is that you go to Vegas, you're going to spend a lot of money, whether you want to or not. And I'm going to guess now Austin's a little upscale. Never been there myself. I've been to Texas, but not to Austin. I'm going to guess it's probably not super cheap, but I imagine it's reasonable,
Yep. Yeah. And it'll probably be more like the first one too, where it's not, like there's not going to be packages to buy. There's, it's just,
yeah.
It's going to be kind of on your own type thing, which is better for security. It's better for a lot of reasons. So I think people definitely follow me and appreciate the organization that I do, because they know that I'm thinking through everything and talking to people to get the best input on like how to make things the best. Mm-hmm. So, so that's all coming up. Of course, Richard Hart's going to be speaking on the 4th day. I know that that ABIT is going to have the keynote probably on the 2nd day with Patrick, so they can do their yearly update, their 3rd annual update on TShares. And I know that, we're going to have 50 other speakers at least, if not more. So if you haven't gotten a message from me, message me on Twitter, and that way we can get everybody signed up to speak and then get the final schedule out. So to learn more, definitely go to hexconference.com. I spent a bunch of time migrating that over to something that is going to be just a better website. So that's good. And then everybody make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and check out Crispy's channel in the description links.
Come to hexfire.io.
Yeah.
Check it
Awesome.
out.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for being on ChrispyMan.
Thank you.
And until next time, stake wisely, my friends. And peace out.
Come on, Huddle.